Okay. Ay, 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 did it I? Oh, yeah, yeah, did it da di da da, did it da da di da 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 da. Oh, yeah, ma, ma, me. Ay, 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 ma, ya, ba, dum, bam, ba, bam, 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 bam. Did it I, thank you. Did it I die 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 da 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 da. Did it I da 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 da. Did it I? I did it I da di die die. Ay mama me, mama. Analinda di di did it I da di da da. Ay mama me, mama. Baruch atah Adonai Melech Haolam Shakol Midbarayim. Month of Tishrei, sponsored by Tanya Yehuda Hanekman, in honor of Emunah, their eldest daughter's birthday, and for their full shtei Chizik Aguf, Yakir Shlomo ben Tanya Malka. Doctors Shira and Yonatan Wiesen, Rabbi Yair and Talia Hinden, commemorating the first Yortzeit of their grandmother Edith Reeder. Tzchon Livracha, Alex and Shachar Avram, for a successful year for all of Am Yisrael, and memory of Shachar's sister, Miriam Reisel Bas Moshe Behudis, for Yortzeit is on Yud Zayin Tishrei. All right, we had to squeeze in a few minutes of learning before Sukkos. Usually when you look at all the years, and most B'tei Midrash, there's very little shiurim on Sukkos. There's very little because usually a zman is off. What? You can make time, but usually, the zman is off officially, so there's no zmanim. But these words from Rav Asher Weiss they're not from this room. Thank you, Serge. Thank you. So, as we've been looking at Rav Asher Weiss's Taras from Yomim Noraim, just wonderful stuff. Today it's going to be good because we're going to get through some kind of a halachic inyan here, and it's pretty short, but I think it'll be a very good way for us to understand the kesher between where we came from and where we're going. We came from Yom Kippur and we're going into Sukkot. As you all know, these days are very mysterious days because it's almost like they don't really count. It's like these days are kind of like, it's very weird because L'kachtem lachem b'yom harishon, and this year we're not going to have that mitzvah seder oraisa. We're taking the Daled Minim on the first day because the first day is Shabbos. But then what did Chazal darshan? Cheshbon leRishon avonot, Rishon lecheshbon avonot. That they tally the year, the count of like when you're going to go up to Yom Kippur next year, and they're going to look at all your mitzvahs and they're going to look at all your chalila, not so good things. The count only starts from the first day of Sukkos. Rishon lecheshbon. Reb Levi Yitzchak B'ditchev has an amazing Torah on this. A lot of the tzaddikim do. So it's very weird. It's very interesting. So what are these days? That's why I don't want to say these. I don't want to say it because, huh?
The days between.
Yeah, but what is it? Like what happens? That's why I said right now in shul, you could either give your children their whole Yiddishkeit by saying how excited they are by these days, or you could mamish ruin the whole thing if they see how anxious and in limbo it is. It's very, very weird. These not weird. It's just very mysterious and hidden these days. Also, Chasidim call it God's Numen, God's name. These 4 days is Yud Kei Vav Kei. So today we're on the day of Hey. Right. Today we're on the day of Hey. That's basically the kli for the or, the key before the vav, before it comes down into this world. If we go on that route, we won't. I told you I have to end early. Even it's not going to be good. But what Rav Asher Weiss does is a beautiful way of connecting these two zmanim for us to explain to us what Sukkot is. Look at this. Hine harbe ha'erachnu be'inyan ha'kesher shebein Yom HaKippurim leSukkos ben yemei ha'yira shel yamim noraim liyemei ha'simcha shel Chag HaSukkos. If you want to tell me that, these days to have complete tshuva, it's tshuva me'yira and tshuva me'ahava, I can understand it very, very clearly. Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur is definitely more a tshuva me'yira. And then Sukkot is the tshuva me'ahava, kind of what Rav Kook said to us yesterday morning after davening regarding this zman that we could do all these mitzvahs and wrap it up in a tshuva out of simcha, out of ahava. והדברים מקבלים משנה תוקף לפי דבני אדוננו הגר"א, בביאור עניין זה חנן הכבוד. The Gra is going to help us understand something very special over here. That explaining, we all know that Sukkos is Zecher la'ananei hakavod, is in memory of the clouds of glory. Without getting into what we did last night between Mincha and Maariv, but what does it mean that it's the clouds of glory? So we know that three things escorted us while we were in the desert. The man was the schus of Moshe Rabbeinu. The be'er was the schus of Miriam, and Aaron HaKohen is Ananei HaKavod. Last night I was hearing a whole shir on. It's amazing. Aaron HaKohen is really he gets the bulk of the Yom Tovim, because who's Aaron HaKohen is even though Moshe Rabbeinu brought down the Luchos Shnios, or he kind of brought the Luchos Shnios, it's Aaron HaKohen is the star of Yom Kippur going to the Kodesh, and then he continues the whole Farbrengen with being Ananei HaKavod also. It's very interesting. This man of Aaron HaKohen. Dine Yadua Mashatam HaTur, the famous Shaila from the Tur. Lama Chag Sukkos b'chodesh Tishrei. Why is Sukkos in the month of Tishrei? Halo ima Sukkah zechel ananei hakavod hi harei zachul ananei hakavod b'knisasam lemidbar b'tzias Mitzrayim u'min ha'ra'ui ha'elasos hachag b'imei Nisan. Famous question. Why is Sukkos on the calendar now? Sukkos should be Pesach time. So yesterday we explained, that's what Rav Kook was saying, we need it now. Like we need the energy, the light, the Or Makif, the Or Ptimi, we need it to be now. But really, it should have been on the calendar, Pesach time. That's when it was, right? Because of a Gra Perusha L'Shir Hashem, he's going to quote a beautiful paragraph from the Gra. Aval nire, lefi shekshe'asu es ha'egel, nistalku ha'ananim, ve'az lo chazru ad she'itchilu asos ha'mishkan. It seems like when we did Chet ha'egel, the ananim, these clouds that we got, were mistalik. That's what the egel caused. The golden calf caused us to have these clouds of glory, these protective clouds to nistalik, get away. V'az lo chazru, they didn't come back ad she'itchil asot mishkan, until they started making the Mishkan. U'Moshe yarad b'yom HaKippurim, u'b'machmaras yom HaKippurim, v'yakel Moshe es b'nei Yisrael. Sorry. V'tziva al malaches HaMishkan. Only when when did it come back? Moshe Rabbeinu comes down from Har Sinai, brings the Luchos. Then the day after Yom Kippur, is when it seems it came back. That was Yud Aleph, or around that time, because that was Yud Aleph Tishrei. Moshe Rabbeinu comes down the day later, start doing the Mishkan. Uksiv, ve'a'am heviu od nedava baboker. So people were bringing more nedavos. It says baboker. That means tzva yomim, right? 2 days. Od shnei yamim. Harei yud gimel b'tishrei u'b'yud dalet tishrei. Not lukol chacham lev mimoshe es hazav b'minyan u'v'mishkan. So then there was 2 more days after that every chacham lev took from Moshe Rabbeinu all the gold. U'betu, and on the 15th day, hitchilu la'asot. Then it all came together. All the nedavot of the Mishkan and the beginning of the building of the Mishkan. V'az chazru ananei hakavod, and then the ananei hakavod came back. Ulachach anu osim Sukkot betu b'tishrei. And that's why we do Sukkos on the 15th of Tishrei, because what really happened on the 15th of Tishrei, according to this? Why? Because what happened that day? We began to, right. That means how long didn't we have the ananei hakavod? Oh, Chet ha'egel. Chet ha'egel. We're talking not 4 months. How long is it? Actually, like 3. It's a while. Yeah, we had a.
There's 86 days of June because it's 21 days, 3 weeks.
So about 2.5, 3 months. Yeah, came out 3 months. Crazy. There was no ananei hakavod according to this calculation. It's funny because none of us think about it when we walk into the sukkah. We're not starting to cheshbon. Oh, this is the day we started building the Mishkan again, right? But this is the day we got the ananei hakavod back. It's very interesting, right?
The way to remember is Gemacha Elokim.
Sorry?
86 Gemacha Elokim.
Ah,
It's the way to remember it.
הרי שחג הסוכos זכר הוא לתקופת הריצוי של אחר הפירוד. That means that Sukkos is the time of making up after you had a fight. Not that any of you know what that is, but there is, sometimes I hear that spouses get into arguments. Right? You've heard this Indian? Not so much? Baruch Hashem. It's a New York thing. It's an old time, right? This is the ritzui la'achar apirud. V'anani hakavod she'asuk zecher lahem, halo hem anani hakavod shechazru lehem l'Yisrael, kasher tziva HaKadosh Baruch Hu lakamas hamishkan, la'achar shenistalku be'ikvat chet ha'egel, u'mishum kach nikba chag Sukkos la'ach Yom HaKippurim. He's bringing a completely different reason over here. We have all these other reasons. What a gorgeous reason this is. This is the ritzui la'achar apirud. That's what Sukkos is. It's making up time. He's tired as he's from another. He's just showing us what the Gra says. He's just showing what the Ga'on of Vilna tells us. Now you see the brain, how his brain starts to, right? Ela shelo yadati ma makor hagra le'etzem hananacha shananei hakavod nistalku b'chet ha'egel. I mean, that's a great vort, Gra, that the ananei hakavod went away with chet ha'egel. But what are you saying, Mechan? What are you saying this? Lich'ora mevuar hefech dvarav b'divrei hanavi. It seems actually the opposite of what he says based on the Navi Nehemiah. ואתה ברחמך הרבים לא עזבת במדבר אס עמוד הענן לא שר מעליהם ביומם להנחותם בדרך ואס עמוד האש בלילה להאיר להם ואס הדרך אשר ילכו בה. In Nehemiah it seems to be saying, Anani HaKavod never ever left. וכך אמרו במדרש תנחום הפרשת בלק, לא זז מחיבוסם אלא ליבה עליהם ענני הכבוד ולא פסקו מהם המן והבאר. דווקא there, the Midrash even says us even clearly, it's an amazing thing. These three things that we had in the Midbar, they never left us. Like, it goes out of its way to show us that it never left us. Now we have a pasuk like this also in Parashat B'Shalach. Lo yamish amud ha'anan yomam v'amud ha'esh laila lifnei ha'am. It's interesting they didn't bring that pasuk here. Because that pasuk is...
Why does he bring the Navi?
And not the time, right? Very good. This is very interesting. That pasuk's even clearer that lo amud anan yomam, this amud anan, this cloud of glory, never left us. Like we have a pasuk in B'Shach. He brings here the words of Nehemiah, and he brings a midrash in Tanchuma. Ulichora zeh tema rabasi al divrei ma'arinenu hagra. So the Rav Asher says here very delicately, this seems like a very good kashya on what the Gra said. What did the Gra say? Nistalik ananei hakavod. And we're bringing all these sources saying, it's a beautiful vort. Someone has a nice dvar Torah at the table now, which doesn't seem like it's right though. It doesn't seem like it's accurate. Now don't think for a second that he wants us to be matil safek in the words of the Gra. Okay? Exactly. He's just trying to... It's like someone came up to me after... You'll never guess who it is, and it's not someone that's really here so much. But someone came up to me after the Shabbos Agadol drasha.
Then you could have pulled the source from the Torah also.
Well, no, that's what someone else said, but it's an amazing thing. Someone came up to me and said to me after the Shabbos Shuvah drasha, and they said like this. They started to say, that whole thing you were saying about like the whole Indian of Itamar. Sit. Come close. When are you coming back? Sit down. Someone said, he said to me like this. That whole thing you said about the Zav and the Balkari and the Tuma and coming out of the mikvah and still being Tameh, and he said it doesn't really... Right. So I said to him, I said to him like this. I said, listen, if you think I'm that smart to come up with that chiddush, do you think like I had a gilut, like he missed the part? He must have walked in right after I said, and the Lubavitcher Rebbe says this in a famous Farbrengen Tafshin Lamed Aleph, right? I'm like, so I just want you right now. I had a moment a little bit Azos de Kedusha, but it was fine. I said, I just want you to close your eyes and for a second, just pretend that I'm the Rebbe, and now tell me again You don't think that it really sounds too good, right? Just for a second. He's not, how could I come up with such a thing, right? So, again, we're being very delicate, his approach to the Gra's word. Now look at this. V'anire bebiur omek divrei hagra al pi ma shedikdakti b'leshono b'mokom acher. We're going to see something amazing from the words of the Gra where I found it somewhere else. Now let's go to another place in the Gra. You see, Rav Asher, Rav Weiss is holding in all the words of the Gra. So he could have said himself, it seems like he's contradicting himself. What does he say in the Tikkunei Azar? Dihine bebiur hagra Tikkunei Azar kasav like this. Ayin mashekasav makom acher, ki bezman Sukkos haya achar shenisrat tzalem HaKadosh Baruch Hu, ve'amar leMoshe neged kol amcha e'esen iflaot. Where do we say that? When do we say those words? Neged kol amcha e'esen iflaot. The Baal Korah is here, right? So, when do we say those words? It's a fast day, right? Vayichal Moshe p'sol lecha luchos shnios. So Hashem, when did Hashem tell Moshe Rabbeinu, oh boy, you thought we were going to be close with luchos rishonos? You don't even know what you're up for now. Now, because of this Yud Gimel Midos Rachmim, because of this wanting to be close no matter what, we're going to go infinitely closer. And what is this extra addition of love and closeness that comes out with the luchos shnios? How is it expressed? Sharu doesn't mean they were singing. Sharu is lashon tishrei, like hovering. Right? This is what it is. When it says, the Gra is saying, when Hashem says to Moshe Rabbeinu, oh boy, now we're going to get closer than ever. Like we always say, Chavra, after you have an argument, Chalila, with the spouse or with the loved one, it's not enough that there's apology and you just forgive each other. Reb Shlomo used to speak about this a lot. It has to be that now, not just you apologize, you get even closer than you were before. That's the whole thing with HaKadosh Baruch Hu too. That's Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is not a day of Slicha or Mechila, and that's it. That's every day of the year. Slach lanu avinu ki chatanu. Yom Kippur is, and now we're going to be even closer. How was the even closer expressed in the time of after Chet HaEgel? Now, there's going to be Ananei HaKavod that are bikvius. So wait a second. What is the Gra saying over here? When was the Ananei HaKavod? So how does this help us? It still doesn't help us. Nachon? The question still is, did we ever lose Ananei HaKavod? Nachon? So why is he bringing this source from the other source, from the Gra? Does this help us understand what we said before? You understand the question? Let's read it again. Ayin mashakasav makom acher, ki bezman Sukkos haya achar shenisrat tzalem HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Sukkos is the time where it's the time of, not only do I forgive you, now we got to be closer than ever. Amar leMoshe neged kol amcha esen iflos, v'huna ananei hakavod shesharu aleim b'kvius. Seems, tell me if I just didn't read it right. It seems that he's kind of saying the same thing. No?
It's a stronger madriga of Shara.
Very good. Very good what you're saying. Very, very good what you're saying. Look what he says here. כאשר הקדוש ברוך הוא סלח ומחל ביום הכיפורים, נסחדש שמעתה ישרו עליהם ענני הכבוד בקביעס. That's the word. Meaning, there was always ענני הכבוד. But what didn't we know? How long is this going to last? It was there, but we didn't know how long it was going to last. This is the diuk that he brings over here. That it was what was nistalic from them was the notion of permanence. He's going to explain it. Listen, it's a very deep sugya. It's a very beautiful thing. Look how he develops this. Aval terem salach lehem HaKadosh Baruch Hu, before God forgave them, hayu bechashash tmidi shema yistalkum hem ananei hakavod. Yeah, they were always nervous, is this going to be here or not, before God forgave them. It was there, but they're like, I don't know, is this here forever? On Tisha B'Av, we have the chutzpah to talk like this, Every year on Tisha B'Av, one of the kinas, I always say that why are we so certain that this time around, we're here for good? In the time of the second Beis Hamikdash, were they certain that they were there for good? What do you think? Absolutely. Absolutely. That's why the whole Shaila and Halach, it's brought down. Did they observe Tisha B'Av in the second Beis Hamikdash or not? Rav Soloveitchik has a beautiful piece on this. But why are we so certain that right now this is forever? So the time over here, what we're speaking about between Shiva Asar B'Tammuz and Sukkos, the initial one, right? After the breaking of the Luchos, God, we knew we were getting a Torah again, but we weren't really sure, is this love affair, what do they call it? Like when it's just everlasting? No, the other way. I'm saying, is this just like a fling? Yeah. Is this just a fling or not? They weren't roy for this honor before Yom Kippur. Fourth line, Berov, Rachama v'chasadav lo silek mehem es anani ekvodo b'foyal b'chemloso aleim chedivrei hanavi. The whole inyan, what Nehemiah brings out, is that God showed them what you think may not be everlasting is. That is the gift of Sukkot. Umishemochel lehem HaKadosh Baruch Hu, shuv lo ya lehem lechshosh misiluk ananei hakavod. And then after Yom Kippur came, and then Moshe Rabbeinu was like, Yalla, we're building a place for this Ananei HaKavod, and what it represents to permanently dwell until there's a Beis HaMikdash. They were like, they could breathe again. They could breathe again. Ve'efshar shazo kavanas hagra b'shir hashirim. Now he's saying, the first makor we saw of the Grand Shir Hashirim, this may be what he meant. The b'chet ha'egel nistalk mem Ananei HaKavod. What does it mean that the clouds of glory were mistalek from Chet HaEgel? Lo shenistalku b'fol.
They weren't sure.
Let's hear what he says. Lo shenistalku b'poyal, ela shenistalku b'koach. What does that mean? Ki keshem shenistalkem mehem hashchina, kach ro'ei haya shegam ananei hakavod yistalku. What was mistalek after Chet HaEgel? What does it seem to be mistalek? Shchina. So there's like the Shechina left, Ananei HaKavod, and what it represents probably is also going to leave too. Ela sheberov chemlosa aleim yisbarach shmo, lo nistalku Ananei HaKavod b'poyal. What does it mean, the difference between b'poyal or b'koach? Right? What does that mean? L'maisa. We have a lot of things that are begeder, like, we're happy it's here, hopefully this is going to last. But as long as I'm not sure it's going to last, my relationship to it is very, what's the word? Like, touch and go. Iffy. Yeah. It's very iffy. Good words today. Touch and go. Iffy, fling. A lot of good stuff going on here, right? We don't know if it's there or not. What's crazy is that the sukkah is the most non-kvious thing in the world. It's actually what's called diras arai, which means temporary, right? So it's a beautiful thing. I think what he's saying over here is like this. The things that matter to us most in life, it's not just enough that we hopefully stop doing mistakes. That's very clear. It should be every single day of the year. This tkufa represents that Hashem is coming and telling us the things that our lives depend on the most. Through the Kedusha of Yom Kippur, Hashem says, now you have it permanently. Which means that we have to believe in our tshuva. We have to believe in our tshuva. Like Nechedush Yarim says, that's the reason we say Slach Lanu Avinu Ki Chatanu in Ma'ariv Motzei Yom Kippur. Why are we saying Slach Lanu Avinu Ki Chatanu? It's a beautiful Torah, because maybe there was a doubt that my Ananei HaKavod are not here to last, based on this. I still doubt it, that I have the protecting clouds of glory. Another Torah, I said this at the Nefesh B'Nefesh convention a few weeks ago, that in Chutz La'aretz, why do you say Slach Lanu Avinu Ki Chatanu after? Why do you say Slach Lanu Avinu Ki Chatanu after Ma'ariv Yom Kippur? Because you just started dancing L'shon Ha'ava V'Yerushalayim Abnuya, and you and I know no one's moving to Eretz Yisrael, right? So he says things Slach Lanu Avinu Ki Chatanu right then and there. Sorry, had to little my last thoughts. Have to whatever. We're saying over here that both of those, that void, the first one, Chidush Yarim, the tikkun is, that's not, I can't go there. I cannot think anymore about Tafshin Pei Gimel. I can't, Zeo. Anani HaKavod, the Succos of Sukkos is that it's here to stay. It was always here, it's here to stay. Just like when I realized that when I make up with someone and I get closer to them than before, and I realized that even that time, that period where I thought we got into such a fight that we despised each other and that love isn't there anymore, when I have the ritzui, what he's speaking about right now, which means appeasement, right? Then I realize it was always there. Now I'm just feeling it permanently. I'm not wondering, if it's going to be here or not. That's maybe also why Chazal say, "En simcha kataras asfekas." The greatest joy in the world is when I don't doubt anymore. Will this person be faithful to me or not? Will this love be here tomorrow or not? I have to nurture it. I have to appreciate it. I have to respect it. But when I know that this is here to stay and I'm going to respect it forever, that's the hug of the sukkah. Maybe that's why this man is called Simchaseinu, because of En Simcha Kataras Asfekas. Because what suffix was just removed? Will this love be here forever or not? And Hashem saying Sukkos is this man? Yes.
Yeah, that works, because Amalek, when he attacked us once, Amalek was gone. When Amalek
well, that's seemingly, that's a good deal, great. Seemingly gone. Seemingly gone.
Amalek passed away, and then
seemingly, but it's, again, based on everything we're learning.
Amalek is suffering, so they only come as man of suffering. Whereas as man of sin.
But Eli's talking about as if there's an outside enemy that's doing this. It's not no outside enemy. It's what's going on inside of us. We should nurture all the relationships we have in our life, and b'schus of Sukkos, it should just everything should be kviyah the kaima be'ezrat Hashem yitbarach. Shekoyach everybody.
I always have this little idea that the Anani HaKavod also represents the cloud. That's why you say I'm cloudy in my mind. And that's what the suffix are.
You're right.
When we have
You're right.
When things are
Absolutely.
clear or not clear.
Absolutely. Mamash.
My wife wants, this is my wife's thing, she wants me to make sure, because I said we hold one day now, we live here, and she's like, we hold one day? Like, that's a big deal. And I was like, okay. She's like, I want you to ask the...
Didn't you move to Eretz Yisrael?
That's what I said to her.
I mean, what's the question?
This is just our shalom bias. Right.
I mean, if there's ever a shear to ask that Shaila, it'd be right now.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm coming up with. This is my opportune time.